You're listening to the Perth Property Show, Australia's only weekly property podcast by West Australian experts for West Australian listeners. Catch your latest episode every Monday at 7 a.m.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Perth Property Show. My name's Trent Fleskens, your host as always. This week we've got a titan of the north in property market these days. You don't see a week go by in the city of Joondalup where this guy's team isn't all over a number of transactions in the city of Joondalup, and that is Redmond Howe, founder, licensee, managing director of Redmond Realty up there. If you live in the city of Joondalup, you've seen the red on white branding everywhere. And the first thing I want to say, mate, is congratulations on being number one in Burns Beach.
Thank you, Trent.
Pretty beautiful houses to be selling up there.
Yeah, thank you. We've got a great team in the northern suburbs. It's nice to see you again, and thank you for such an amazing introduction. Let's do it. Let's get stuck in.
I thought that would be a great conversation to have, because on this podcast, we've featured the city of Joondalup a number of times, from literally our first episode talking about Duncraig. We've spoken about Craigie, we've spoken about Greenwood, Hillary's, Warwick, Padbury, Craigie, Connolly. There's so many of these suburbs up there. Joondalup that we've covered over the years, and it's been a while since we've had an update on just how things have been going, and it should be no surprise to a lot of people about where the price points have been moving. But I thought, hey, we've got to get the authority in here to give us a broad brush overview on some then and nows on values, but also a bit of a heat map on the ground for where the heat is right now in the city of Joondalup, where maybe it's a bit less red hot than you thought it might be as well.
Yep.
And just start to paint some of the reality in an area that's quite diverse in a way. You might think, oh, look, it's just Pommy land, bunch of Poms up there and Irishmen who have filled the place up, and that is a fact, isn't it?
Yep.
It is a fact, but there's also quite a diversity of housing product, mainly in terms of age. We've got stuff that's Burns Beach, a few years old, all the way down to 50 years old.
Yeah, that's it. No, we've seen a big variety of buyers coming into the market. The areas we predominantly sell in are Burns Beach, Iluka, and all the way up to Alkimos, Eglinton, and even get some listings up in Yanchep. Joondalup, where our office is located, has probably surprised us the most as of recent times. We've seen some standard 4x2s with a pool selling over the $1 million mark. When I was back here in 2021 doing this podcast with you, they were selling in the 600s. So we've seen some massive price growths across sort of all the northern coastal areas.
Is it homogenous? As in, can you see many standouts along the way, or have they all really just grown at their own price point, the same percentage up?
Yeah, I would say they're all within the same percentage of upwards growth, if I'm honest, especially Alkimos, Eglinton. Back when I was here in 2021, there were very affordable homes up there. Now, standard 4.2, a year to 2 years old, they're well into the 700s, 800s, which we're noticing back then we were selling them for $400,000-$500,000. So things have jumped exponentially across all the coastal suburbs. The standout suburb for us, we've got a team at our office, Gina and Joe Buckle, that predominantly sell Burns Beach. That's just had year-on-year growth non-stop, between 10 to 15%. I guess because of the premium location that it is in, Ocean Reef Marina as well, that's actually happening and underway. And yeah, just the demographic, the people that are in there, they're professionals, most of them business owners as well. And we've noticed that as soon as one of the properties comes up for sale, that we're receiving multiple offers on them above indicative appraisal ranges, which is, I think Burns Beach in particular has been the most standout suburb that we've witnessed to see this crazy growth.
Burns Beach is a little bit of an enclave, isn't it? It's bordered to the north by a reserve.
Yeah, that's it.
And to the south, you've got probably what was the premier suburb in the area, Iluka.
Yes.
I remember a year ago reporting on Iluka with rents at $1,350 a week.
Yep.
How does that happen? You look at somewhere in the western suburbs, like in Nedlands, the rent isn't that much per week.
Yeah, so we actually manage a property in Iluka for $1,500 a week on Atlantic Avenue.
Who can afford that, and why?
Look,
how can they justify that price?
So we've had a lot of corporate tenants come to our agency asking premium high-end rentals, but we also have a lot of local families that specifically want to get into those suburbs. Burns Beach Primary School is now built and being used on a daily basis. So a lot of professional couples that want their children in that school, they will pay that kind of money to rent a property in these premium areas.
Wouldn't you just buy at that rent?
Look, everyone's got their own opinion, right?
Is it just a case of, oh, if I could, I would?
Yeah, and because there's just an absolute lack of stock coming to the market in all the northern coastal suburbs, a lot of the ones that we put up for lease in Burns Beach, Iluka, we've got one in Ocean Reef that's $13.50 per week as well. They just go within a fortnight, and every tenant's got their own story as to why they want to rent for that amount, and they're beautiful homes at the end of the day.
It's really hard to wrap my head around it, to be honest, as well, let alone anyone else listening. You'd really struggle to see within 5Ks of the city, which nominally should be more valuable property in a way, property renting out for more than $1,000 a week. It's pretty hard to see many people piercing that ceiling. But that's where the yields really start to drop. You could have the property be worth $4 million, but really hard to see people paying more than $1,000 a week. At some point, they eventually just go, hey, I'll just buy the house. I don't need to be a tenant. Getting your head around being 25, 30 Ks from the city, yes, on the beach, yes, probably in fairly large houses built in the last 15 years. Some would say mansions with views.
Beautiful homes,
It is still hard to be like, Jesus, like, why wouldn't you just go live in Swanbourne if you're going to rent for that?
Yeah, I guess so. It's always that question that a lot of people ask me, but ultimately, a lot of the people that are in Burns Beach and Iluka do stay within the area. They're either moving from one suburb to the other. Same goes for renting as well. Most of the applicants that we get on something big in Burns Beach or Iluka or even Mindarie, they've all been in the area for many years.
There's an invisible wall at Sorrento, is there?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah. But yeah, everything that we've put on the market above $1,000 per week has been snapped up relatively quickly. And we have had a lot of interstate tenants come over here for our FIFO jobs. So they'll relocate the whole family into these really nice luxury homes and working at the mines.
We've had coverage over the years about house and land package suburbs. Right? And the thing about City of Joondalup is at some point in the last 50 years, you would say that each of them have been the house and land package suburbs. At one point in the past, places like Currumbine, like Mullaloo, like Ocean Reef or Luca, they were brand new land estates, just like Burns Beach. In contemporary times, we would suggest that places like Alkimos, Eglinton and Yanchep, they're those house and land suburbs where you're buying a package.
Yeah.
Now, we've generally been a bit nervous over the years about the downside risks of those. A lot of investors come into the market to essentially finance the creation, the construction of these suburbs, and over time, as if there's amenity, because that's not taken for granted, if that suburb ends up having good amenity because of good master planning, then you'll see it start to be replaced with owner-occupiers over time. Out of those suburbs, like your Alkimos, your Eglinton, Yanchep, which one's offering the best amenity, and which one do you think in 20 years' time will look at it as being the premium suburb in the area?
Oh, that's such a good question. Based on my experience, we've got an agent in my office, Daniel Kay, that looks after Alkimos and Eglinton for us. And Alkimos last 12 months has gone up 12%. Eglinton has gone up 11.5% over the last 12 months. And another case study for us is that we just listed 2 brand new properties in Eglinton where they just finished the construction and they were interstate owners and they just wanted to sell them. And what the turnkey cost for that house and land package, what we've just sold it for, has gone for a whole lot more than what they actually built it for. So we are noticing a lot of the interstate buyers that are investing in these particular areas are building the properties and just selling them as soon as they get in the keys because the market has increased. So you've probably seen on the news today that Costco's has just come out that they're going to be taking a tenancy on Romeo Road in Alkimos. So I believe there's just so many amenities and shopping centres and leisure centres that are planned for that whole northern coastal corridor. Is it a risk to buy up there? Back in 2021 when we had our last discussion, it was a bit all over the place, but now we're seeing a lot of people moving up that way and purchasing property up that way and really enjoying what it has to offer. Personally think Alkimos is a really nice spot. Yeah. You've got especially Joondalup as well, Eden Beach Estate. That has surprised us all with the price growth in there. I think any of those suburbs on the coastal side on the ocean will see really good growth. We've got a lot of properties now being built up in Two Rocks. Back in when I started real estate, Two Rocks was like, where is that?
Past the whole
that's it.
location. I remember as a 18-year-old going for a weekend away at Club Capricorn, and you pack your bag to get to Yanchep. Two Rocks, you wouldn't even consider going that far.
No, a lot of these interstate investors are building so much property up there, and we're managing a lot of them now. And it's becoming a real thing right up in Two Rocks. So my pick would probably be in Alkimos, in my opinion.
Let's go to the other side of the coin and think about the suburbs that, even if it's marginally, possibly underperforming compared to the rest of them, still probably all growing, as we know. But is there any opportunity there where you look at it and go, that actually hasn't done as well as I thought it would have, and the amenity is no different to the suburb next door?
Oh, not in my opinion, Trent. I think everything, like in the areas we particularly cover, the northern coast, all of them have been performing year-on-year growth.
You can't set them apart.
You really cannot set them apart. I guess some may say Alkimos and Eglinton not as busy as your inner north, say like your Currumbine, Joondalup, Heathridge, Belden, Craigie suburbs, where you're getting still 30, 40 groups turn up on one home open.
Is that just a function of location, distance?
Literally, just distance. That's what it comes down to. But coming out today saying they're going to build a big Costco up there, again, it's like when these amenities catch up to those outer north suburbs, will they be the next big thing?
So you list a property on the weekend.
Yep.
It's worth $800,000.
Yep.
Are you getting more people to that home open if that property is an older property on a full block in Heathridge or in Eglinton?
Oh, most definitely Heathridge.
Okay.
So Heathridge, Craigie, Belden, if you turn up to one home open that's anything that you can get under 800,000 now, it will be flooded with potential buyers, because most of them buyers will be owner-occupiers, whereas the buyers, Alkimos, Eglinton, we're noticing majority investors, interstate investors, and first-home buyers, because it's a brand-new build with the scheme that's come out at the beginning of the month. They've come out in force as well.
That helps me segue into my next question. What has been the impact of that 5% deposit scheme in your neck of the woods?
No, it's just been more chaos, Trent.
There's more inquiry?
Just much more inquiry. Even at our office, you're getting daily walk-ins from first home buyers and even the parents of first home buyers. Where's the next listing? Where's the next property? Because my kids are looking to buy under the scheme, and it's caused even more fire to the market, especially up our way.
I asked Rash Danjal that question last week. He gave an example of a property in Dayton that was on 300 square metres, would have been worth, I'd say, maximum 400 grand back in 2019.
Yep.
Sold for 860 grand,
Yeah, wow.
10 grand over the threshold of the first home buyer scheme, and it sold to an investor who paid that amount knowing he would price out everyone trying to use that scheme.
That's it.
Have you seen anything similar going on?
We definitely have, Trent. We've noticed a few of the listings that we've had from 750. The other investor buyers, should we say, or owner-occupiers that are looking for a downsizer for themselves, they will try and wipe out that market by
push it
coming in
above.
at 805 to start off with.
Yeah.
That's what we've noticed dramatically. And we had one, especially in Queen's Rocks. The client purchased that with us in 2020 for $549, and about 3 months ago we sold it for $910. This was before the scheme came out, but just the price growth, just with that in itself, with the client actually not doing too much to the property, just explains what's really gone on up in the suburbs.
Are you seeing a lot of people looking in those older suburbs to jump on and act upon house behind a house subdivisions?
For sure.
Are they building, or are they just splitting the land off?
They're splitting the land off. We haven't seen too much building. Just cannot be bothered. And even our builders that we know, that we've worked with for a number of years, they're even telling us as soon as the property's built, we're turning up to do the key handover and a for sale signboard's already in the lawn, because the market's increased in the 12, 16 months it's taken them to build it, and they're just cashing them in. You know?
We've covered suburbs like Padbury, Craigie, Warwick, Belden since day one, as I said, and I've taken particular interest over them. And over the years, when I've had my top 10 suburb forecasts at the start of a calendar year, people wouldn't have been surprised if they look back. They'll see places like Craigie, Heathridge, Padbury in those lists, especially in those earlier years. I'm pretty proud to see that those have paid off pretty well with those forecasts. But can you talk to just how much suburbs like Craigie have grown over the last, let's say, 6 years?
Oh, 6 years back when I was selling in Craigie, even 8 years ago, we were selling 3x1s for high 300s. Now, you cannot really find a 3x1 on a full-size block for less than 750, 800,000. So they have had
and more than double.
Biggest price growth. Me personally, I bought one in December 2023 in Craigie, a 3x1 on a full-size block. You look at the bank valuation on that now, it's gone up so much more, and that's just in the space of 2 years. You know what I mean? So it's, that market in particular, you absolutely called it at the time. And I remember at our 2021 podcast we did, those were our hot suburbs to buy in, and those have been the most surprising.
Even though I'd like to say I called it, I'm surprised how far it's gone.
Yeah.
People selling property in Craigie, for example, for over $1 million, $1.5 million for some of these properties. And you couldn't fathom even $700,000 in Craigie before COVID.
Yeah.
The question that comes from that is, are you seeing people capping out, not being able to afford things? I'm just so surprised that these suburbs that historically have been low income, low socioeconomic suburbs pre-COVID are now at price points that are far higher than what suburbs like Hillary's were pre-COVID.
Yeah, I think just because, again, it just comes back to being in a fantastic location, right? And we haven't seen capping out from many potential buyers on any of our listings that we've had in Craigie Build and Heathridge.
Wow.
It's just been an absolute frenzy. And I thought that it would at least cool its jets sort of 12 months ago, but it has just not stopped at all. Everything that's listed in those areas, there's multiple offers on each property, and it goes for well above the indicative appraisal amount.
If you've got 10 people putting an offer in on your properties right now, can you split them up between first home buyer, investor, and someone trading property out, downsize, upsize?
I would say it's a third of each, thereabouts. Mostly first home buyers at the moment. We have a lot of interstate investors and a lot of owner occupiers, but the problem is with the people that are coming through looking to purchase it to move in, they're in this crossroad of they have their property ready to go, but they still will need to sell it before they buy. So I think this is what this lowest level of properties available to the Perth market has had a direct impact, because everyone's scared to go on the market and make the jump. No one wants to be homeless, and you can understand that, right? And that's where I feel like we're at this crazy crossroad with the first home buyer scheme that's come out. We've got interstate interest still in all the northern coastal suburbs, and we've also got owner occupiers that are just staying put until the perfect one pops up. But then as a selling agent, if a buyer comes to us and goes, oh, we're subject to sale of our home, our first question, is it on the market or is it under offer? And if they say no, sometimes our sellers, they probably won't want to entertain the offer as much as someone that's got, I've got my finance pre-approved, I'm ready to go, or an interstate investor going, I've got the cash, here's a cash offer, we'll settle in 28 days.
It's this really weird circular catch-22, right? Where they're all caught with their own, not my problem sort of situation,
that's exactly
but it is their problem the other way.
That's exactly it.
So if we use your office as a case study, how many listings would you guys run with at the moment in any one point in time? On average per month, we aim for 15 to 20 listings per month. And a crazy thing to let you all know is that 2 weeks ago, our whole office was sold out of stock. That's the first time in 8 years of running this business that we actually had a listing for sale. Everything sold, which for me was... It's a good and a nervous thing at the same time. It was great because everything had sold, but at the same time, you're like, wow, where's the next listing coming from? And then you see the REWA stats that come out at the beginning of the week, 2,779 homes available in the Perth metro market. Very interesting times. The pie is a lot smaller for agents. That's exactly it. It's worth more, but it's smaller. That's exactly it. If all of your appraisals had somewhere to move tomorrow, how many listings do you think you'd have? Oh, it would increase double, even triple. And we do have a lot of clients that are signed up off market where we've had the photos taken, we've had a video done, we've had the floor plan created, but they're sitting in our system waiting for them to find a property to purchase. As soon as they find something, theirs is ready to go live as soon as the offer's accepted on their purchase. Is there any obvious solution to that, to helping mobilise people, or is it just the outcome of a private treaty system? It's actually a really good question. We discussed this at our huddle last week with the team. This is something as well that one of my team members brought to my attention, is to actually get a little bit creative with our sellers' contracts of sale. So adding in different special conditions as to, with conveyancer and solicitor advice, of course, but if they were to accept
an offer on their property today, that the buyer is aware that the seller has 30 days to go and find and purchase a property. If by the 30th day the seller hasn't found a property, then the deposit is refunded in full and the contract comes to an end.
That's a lot of risk on you guys as well to have to maybe resell that property again.
The thing is, Trent, is that there are that many buyers lined up for properties that we have when we get them up for sale. We have to be a little bit creative and try and protect our sellers in a sense. It's a case of, look, Red, we want to sell. What can we do here, especially if we don't find something when we do accept an offer on the property? Whereas you can add certain special conditions to the contract that can suit the seller. The buyer's fully aware and agrees to it. And then it's just trying to find a solution for the seller so that they can go to market and actually sell.
This is a great train of thought here. My advice to buyers has been not only focus on price, obviously important, but be flexible around your terms for settlement to facilitate sellers being able to move as well. And it hasn't been the suggestion you've had where a seller can just pull a contract if they haven't found anything in the next month, or actually the buyer allows a rent back for free for 6 months or an extended settlement for 6 months so that the seller feels comfortable enough to press go on executing that sale.
100%. Those are the key negotiation ones that we would try for first of all.
You never have to do that 5 years ago.
No, never, Trent. And some buyers are even waiving a building and pest report just to make their offer look more attractive to the seller. Look, I would always say have a really good connection with your finance broker. Have your pre-approval or a pre-approval letter ready and available to provide to the real estate agent. Even the direct contact number and name of your finance broker. A lot of agents give out a provisional offer form for you to fill in. Make sure you put in there absolutely flexible so that when you do actually sign a formal written contract to be presented to the seller, go in there strong with your price point. Don't go, I might go in a bit lower and then if he calls me I'll go up another $2,500 or $5,000. Just go in strong. Go in at what your budget is, what your pre-approval states that you can go to, and also just be flexible with your conditions. We have had a few incidents where we have received multiple offers and we've received letters from buyers where it's explained their situation, where they're currently living and why they want to purchase this home. Things like that are really nice.
So add a personal touch.
It's a real personal touch, and even me as an agent, it gets me in the fuzzies.
It's hard to admit as an agent because you really obviously have a fiduciary responsibility to just get the best price and get it sold for your seller. Yeah. But we're all human, aren't we? Look, this guy's lost 8 houses I've sold here. I feel for him. I want to help him. Maybe I'll put him forward. I've done a lot of vetting on him over 8 properties. I can tell this guy's going to settle on a transaction. Let's give him every opportunity. Surely that happens, right?
Yeah, that's it, Trent. And it's a case of when we have received these open letters to our sellers where the buyer's given us their best and final offer. They've given us a separate letter from them themselves explaining their situation. We have had a couple of times where the sellers, there's not much in it in the price, Trent. There's not much difference in, say, 2 or 3 of the offers that we've received. But having that human aspect and actually just being respectful to the agent that you're dealing with, it goes a long way.
That's a great point. We're at that point now where that is the best advice I think we can give people right now. We've been saying the broker, the pre-approval, even be prepared to put cash offers in and things like that. But everyone is doing that now. We're now all the way to that point of try and be likable. Just pick you because there's really nothing else to split it.
Yep, that's exactly it. And us as agents, as you said, our job is to get the best price for the seller, but people are coming in strong with their offer prices. But little things like what I mentioned before about these personalised letters to the owner, which these buyers have never met, explaining their background and how long they've been looking for a home. And one of them last week even had a photo of their beautiful Labrador, their dog, in it. And it was just really nice, that's such a nice touch. Whereas, as me and you both know really well, real estate is a numbers game, and the agent that you're dealing with, treat them like humans too, because we are getting a lot of buyers come to us so deflated by missing out on a home round the corner, and a lot of negative energy out there at the moment, understandably, with what's going on.
For every person who's purchased a property, there's probably 15 who hate your guts or are crying in the bushes. That's
exactly it. And ultimately, at the end of the day, we just want to help them out. So if everyone brings a bit more human to the side of real estate and a bit more respect and kindness to each other, I think it will be a lot better moving forward.
That's a very good point. Last question, buyer's agents. How involved are they in transactions out of 100 with Redmond Realty?
Buyer's agents, so 2 or 3 years ago, it was almost every other deal. We have noticed a few have pulled back a little bit in the Alkimos Eglinton area, to be specific, but we are still getting an email and a phone call here and there, but nothing like it was 2 years ago.
Interesting.
Every day we was getting phone calls from buyers agents. What's
Why
the
do you
next
think
one?
that is?
Look, different feedback from different buyers agents that we've dealt with. Some are directing their money back over east somewhere, and I think they are just saying to us, look, if something pops up that meets our buyers criteria, we'll get in touch with you. But they are still strong in the Perth market, but not as heavy as they were 2 years ago, if that makes sense.
Redmond, appreciate your time, mate. That's a really good conversation from the qualitative and quantitative information about what's going on in the ground in the city of Joondalup right now. And I'm sure we'll have another update in the next couple of years.
No, thanks, Trent, for having me on. A pleasure as always.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Perth Property Show. If you've only just joined the conversation, you can catch up by heading over to our website, perthpropertyshow.com.au, subscribing to the podcast, or joining our Facebook page. Don't forget to tune in next Monday at 7 a.m. for more expert insights, local analysis, and suburb spotlights. Happy hunting!